All right, I was speaking on mute. Now I'm back. All right, welcome once again to today's session. Today is Soul Food Sunday. I know we missed last Sunday. And as I said earlier, when I was on mute, I was talking about we are supposed to be discussing the book IKIGAI. But we did not discuss that book in September as planned because it's quite a big book and there's quite a number of lessons that we need to learn. And therefore, so I've split the book into several chapters or into several lessons so that each one of you can at least take something home. And a short lesson is much better than a whole lesson that is 2 hours. And if it's just a short lesson, which is 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I think it's much easier even to take action. So if you can hear me, you can give me a thumbs up. And I can see that, yes, we are live on Facebook. Fantastic. So going into the book, and I just wanted to let you know the book is really great. And we are going to learn a lot of lessons from that book. And these lessons are things that you can actually act on and implement immediately. If you have never implemented something in your life, this is the time you take a pen and paper and start, implementing the lessons that you're going to learn. So as you can see from this screen, the book Ikigai, it's lessons from the Japanese secret to a long and happy life. And why I'm excited today that I'm actually even sharing this book, it's because today I was actually not going to go online. Reason being, I was actually in the field playing my favorite game today, and actually I twisted my foot. Actually, I can hardly walk. I'm limping. But I said, if I'm teaching about Ikigai, then I must as well be an example of what Ikigai is. And as we go along, you'll see what that means. Having your passion, knowing your purpose, it doesn't matter what pain you're in, it doesn't matter what you're feeling, so long as you have the basics in working. I have electricity, I have the camera on, my voice is okay, and I have my slides already ready. So even if my foot is aching, my Ikigai doesn't stop. I keep moving. And today, that is actually one of the lessons that you're going to learn. But before we go ahead, for those who are watching tonight and they do not know who I am Lucy Munga, and I'm passionate about those people who are looking for their purpose in life, who are looking for meaning in life, who are looking for their Ikigai. Because if we work together, we are going to definitely be winners, right? Sometimes you keep looking, you keep failing, you keep looking again and you keep failing. But if you have a mentor, a coach, then you might as well actually even save a lot of sweat, a lot of time finding that Ikigai. So my passion in life as a coach is to help you find your passion, your purpose, and be able to build something that can give you an income. And not just an income, it is more so a passive income that you can actually rely on even at your older age. For those people who come for my sessions, definitely they know that is what I speak about, that you should not just think about now when you have the energy, when you can work, but what happens that time when perhaps you still need some means of income, but perhaps you don't have the energy. Yeah, you've grown much older. You start planning for that early in life. And if you do not know your purpose in life, sometimes you may give up along the way. Sometimes you get frustrated because yes, you're getting an income right now, but if it frustrates you, then you may not be able to build that passive income because what you're not passionate about, you might definitely even give up on it. So tonight, I will just speak about one part of the book, the Ikigai book, and we'll do part 2, part 3, and even part 4 in the coming weeks. But before we get into that, I know Soul Food Sunday is a day when we actually discuss just some words from the Bible, and we relate that to what we're actually studying. For example, what is your life purpose? And I know most people are asking themselves, I'm here on this earth, I'm working so hard, but I'm not passionate about what I'm working for. Or rather, yes, I'm getting an income, but it's a struggle to even wake up. And sometimes when you have your purpose, sometimes you will not even struggle to wake up. My foot is aching, but I will limp my way to my study room to be able to just deliver this message, because I feel it's very important and it has to be delivered. It has to be delivered today. So when you have found your purpose, some of the things don't matter. You can even do it even when it's only your cat that is actually watching you. There's no one else watching you because you are so passionate about it. But eventually it pays off. So one thing I always advocate is that if you have not found your Ikigai, today's lesson will be able to show you what is that Ikigai, first define for you what it is. It is your purpose, it's your meaning in life. And then from there, help you even narrow down to something that you can do for a living. All right, so some Bible verses just to share. The first one is, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. That is Jeremiah 29:11. So God's plans are to give you a hope and a future. So are you operating within God's plans? Because sometimes we are so off what God wants us to do, but until we align ourselves with God's purpose, with God's plans, we'll keep getting frustrated. And the Bible keeps talking to us every day. It's just that we don't actually, maybe take that message and internalize it. So if you want to have God's plan, hope, and a future from God, then you need to actually be working on what is God's plans. And sometimes maybe even the question you're asking me right now is, then what are they? What is God's plan for me? Yeah. And sometimes you're feeling depressed, frustrated. You're wondering what's God's plan for me. But today's lesson, if you listen keenly and you even take action, then you'll start moving towards aligning yourself with what God's plans is for you. The second Bible verse is, blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, for when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him. That is James 1:12. So you need to remain steadfast when you're in trial. So God does not say that you will not get into trouble or in trials, or you not get problems, or you not feel like giving up, or you'll not feel depressed. All those things will come your way. But if you're able to remain steadfast and be aligned to God's plans, then you'll definitely realize what God's plans are for you and your future. But as much as I share those verses, there's one particular verse I always call the word for the day. And today's word for the day is from Romans 8:28, which says that, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. If you're not called according to his purpose, then if you reverse it, then you could be struggling so much. But let me tell you something, that struggle you're going through, it's a lesson. Please pick some lesson out of it. It is still part and parcel of what God's purpose is for you. And you're supposed to be learning a lesson. Remember, if you're struggling and you don't learn a lesson, you'll keep repeating the same mistakes. And until you learn that lesson, that is when you will start moving to the next level. So always remember, if there are good things happening in your life or there are bad things happening in your life, all those things work together for good. And it's according to God's purpose, right? And therefore, it's important to drill deeper as to what is happening to you on a daily basis and understand then what is the meaning. How can I interpret the experiences that I'm going through today to be able to understand what God's purpose is for me in future? I remember recently a friend of mine told me that, do you know sometimes God can hide you, yeah, so that you're not devoured by the wolves and the animals on the land. And in that part of incubation, or when you're hidden, sometimes you feel like life has stagnated, like nothing is moving, like you even give up because you're working so hard, but nothing is improving. Appreciate that moment, because if that box is opened, maybe there's something that will just demolish you and finish you. So start to learn, what is the lesson am I learning here? And even if it takes a year, 2 years, 3 years, What is that lesson? Because sometimes when you're preparing for a big battle, the practice that you need to do is much, much higher than for a small battle. Look at the athletes out there. By the time they win a medal, how many years have they practiced? How many years have they gone up the mountain to run, exercise, and even when they don't feel like doing it? When you're passionate about something, when you're working according to God's purpose, you will definitely wait, but keep working at it. You cannot just wait by sitting back. As an athlete, as I said, you have to keep working, you have to keep exercising, and you must focus on that goal that is according to God's purpose. So you have to find it, what is that purpose? And today's Ikigai is going to teach us how to find that purpose. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm linking the lessons for today, and even those lessons, you can also learn them from the Bible because they're everywhere. All right. So I can see there are a few people watching, so let's go ahead. But before we get into the lessons, let me first just give you a synopsis of that book, Ikigai. Ikigai is in the heart of the Okinawa people, and it's health and prosperity. So there are people who live somewhere in Japan, island. In Okinawa, it's an island, south of mainland Japan, and it contains some of the world's longest living humans. On average, men live until 84, while women live until 90. There is also a high concentration of people who are 100 or more years old, right? Even the oldest Okinawans are considered healthy and have the emotional, physical, and intellectual capacity to live and function independently. In other words, you will find people or old men and women in that island called Okinawa who are over 100 years. They can cook, they can walk, they can do any chores by themselves. And there's a secret to that. And this is what you're being told. It's because they have of their healthy emotions, their physical health, their intellectual capacity. So there's something then they do to be able to maintain that over 100 years old. And I'm sure most of us aspire to live 100 years. So researchers have identified that the diet, the simple outdoor lives, and their subtropical climate are the three main reasons for their longevity. All right? Their diet, simple outdoor lives, and subtropical climate. Do you have these three? So if you have those, then you have the basics right. All right, let's go ahead. However, it is Ikigai that shapes their lives. Iki means to live, and Gai means reason. So a reason to live. If you have no reason to live, you who is watching me, or who is going to watch this later, if you do not have a reason as to why you are alive today, you're just walking on this earth without any purpose, no reason at all, then there's something you're missing. And maybe today's lesson will give you some hints as to where you can start. So therefore, your Ikigai is your reason to live. Each individual's Ikigai is personal to them and specific to their lives, values, and beliefs. So take that, what I've underlined there, very seriously. Your values and your beliefs. So be careful what you put in your mind. What is this that is actually, is it serving you? Are your values the right values? Are your beliefs serving you? Are you able to live a comfortable life like these Japanese who live simple outdoor lives, just simple lives? Are you happy with yourself, living a simple life, contented with yourself, or you're busy fighting with forces all over that sometimes are imaginary because of your beliefs? Those are questions that you need to keep asking yourself as we go along today. So it reflects the inner self on an individual and creates a mental state in which the individual feels at ease. So this book was written by Hector Garcia and Frances Miralles, and it outlines how you can find your Ikigai. All right, so let's go into the lessons for today. But before we get there, let's pick some quotes from some of the famous people. For example, Aristotle, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit." So if you close your eyes right now and ask yourself, what is this you repeatedly do every day? When you wake up in the morning, what is this you repeatedly do? Midday, what is this you're still doing? And by evening, what are these habits, these actions that you're still taking from Monday to Sunday, from January to December? What are those things you're doing repeatedly? Are they things that actually bringing you closer to excellence? Or are they actions that are actually dragging you behind and they're actually draining you? So using Aristotle's comment here or quote, you need to know whether you're moving towards excellence or you're just deteriorating because of the repeated actions that you take every day. The second one is we don't create meaning of life, we discover it. Meaning that if you're looking for something in life, it's not going to be manufactured, it already exists. But as I said earlier in that verse, if you're not aligned to God's purpose, perhaps that's why you've not discovered the meaning of your life, right? So you need to be totally aligned mentally, physically, and even your habits and your values, totally aligned to what God wants you to do or what the universe wants to do or what, depending on what religion or what you believe in life, you have to be 100% aligned. Because some of the things that happen to our lives and we act on, they come as a result of, we call it something like a hunch, or we call it something like a dream, right? Those things that sometimes speak to us can only speak to us when our minds are clear. The clarity of your mind, to be able to discover the meaning of life, you must have that clarity in your mind. And so that when those discoveries of your own purpose in life are coming through, then you're able to actually identify that that's the opportunity actually that I need to take. Because there's so many opportunities come and pass because we are too busy doing too many things that are not aligned to what we are supposed to be doing. Perhaps you're busy just giving away your time, giving away your life to other people who don't even appreciate you. And you have forgotten that you need to be listening to yourself. You need to be listening what is your purpose in life, because we are all unique, we are all different. Nobody is the same, even if your sisters, brothers, parents, we are all very unique. And there is no way you can say, because so-and-so is able to do this, I can also do it. No, yours is totally different. It could be similar, but it has its own tweak. So we are very independent. So if you're actually looking for meaning in life, you can only discover it if you're properly aligned to God's purpose. All right. And it's already there waiting for you to grab it. Opportunities are there. So make sure you don't die before you actually, get that opportunity to live the life that you are meant to live here on earth. All right. The other quote is, it is not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. Very important. In fact, this is a very important point, because more often than not, you're so busy trying to respond to people who are bringing a lot of negative energy to you, and you've forgotten to concentrate and to pursue your passion and your purpose in life. So you're being reactive to things that are happening in life. More often than not, in fact, if you want to progress in life, sometimes silence is the best. Let people talk, let them say. The truth will eventually come out, because actions speak louder than words. All right. So how you react to what happens to you is the key point here. Don't overreact to anything and everything. Be very intentional with what you do with your life. And those people who come to distract you, because they will come, and there are many, especially if you're progressing in life, if you're hitting the next milestone, there's so many people who will come to distract you and even discourage you. How you react to the words they throw to you is up to you. Someone said, do not throw back the stones, but instead, when people throw stones to you, pick them and build your next bridge to the next level. So, and that's my advice tonight. Yeah, build the next bridge to your next level when people throw stones at you. Don't bother just trying to overreact and react and respond to them. Some things don't warrant any response. Sometimes I look at Facebook, Instagram, and people keeping on responding to each other, and I wonder, why is this on? Why are you wasting so much energy? It's just not necessary, right? So anyway, the final one from now, the writer of this book, is that our Ikigai is different for all of us. But one thing that we have in common is that we are all searching for meaning. All of us are searching for meaning. So long as you're alive, you're searching for meaning. You're always asking yourself a question. Sometimes when you're in school, you said, if I could pass my exams, I will be so excited. And you passed those exams, but you still went ahead and looked for something else and something else. You're always looking for something. But let that meaning that you're looking for be that which is actually aligned to your purpose and that you're excited. Make the journey exciting, because it's not the destination that is exciting. It's a journey of actually discovery that actually should be having a lot of meaning as you move towards your ikigai and finding what the meaning and purpose in life. And in fact, one question I keep asking is, if you are 80 years old today, if you brought that age that you will be 80 or 90 some years to come, if you brought it today, what is this that you would be telling the people that are around you? Is it that you're excited, you lived a good life, that you enjoyed the journey up to that age? Or is it that you will be regretting and saying, I wish I did this, I wish I tried this, I wish I had done this and that. Maybe my children will be this way, or maybe they will be that way. So let's not be a regret. And the only way that it cannot be a regret is if, as you search for your meaning, you ensure that you're aligned to God's purpose and you're aligned to your purpose in life, and actually you're excited and working towards the excellence. All right. So all these things are actually things to think about, but I will give you one exercise tonight on how to find your ikigai. And that is the reason why you should read this book if you have not read it. Because anyone who is looking for clarity in life's direction should definitely read this book. It is a great book that will help you find meaning in life. And for sure, I've read it 3 times. I'm reading it the 3rd time. And every time I read it, there's something new. There's something to work on, right? Something that helps me even tweak further on what I'm working on in my life. Then a life without purpose is not a life at all. It is just a dash on your tombstone. That dash, let it have meaning. Let it have meaning. And as you go along, find joy and excitement as you find it. Sometimes you'll be hit so hard, but just wake up, brush the dust, and say, I've learned this lesson. And the lesson is XYZ. I'll never do that again. And while that lesson, implement the learnings in the next stage of your life. All right. So you need to read this book, Ikigai, if you have not read it, because these lessons that I'll be discussing the next few weeks are quite highly summarized. And some of them are actually from my own experience. All right. So why is Ikigai popular? It's because Japanese live longer than any other community in the world. As I said, over 100 years, there are a lot of them. And it's because they found their passion, their Ikigai. And the secret to longevity is the Ikigai. In fact, when I was reading this book, I remembered my own father. My father is 94 years old today. And he walks, he looks after his workers. He still looks, okay, he has a lot of tea plantation. He goes down the hill. He looks after his cows. He just observes how his workers are working. He doesn't use a walking stick. He's 94. And sometimes when I was reading this book, I started wondering, what is this Mzee has done so well? Because he's a jolly guy. He just goes on his life perfectly. And I looked at it and I said, one, he must be awake by 6 a.m. Even today. He takes whatever, a bath, he takes his breakfast, and he does not sit. He walks out, right? When he walks out, by the time he does the rounds, it's almost 3 hours, because those rounds, it's a big, area, all right? By the time he talks to that person, he talks to the other person who is perhaps cutting some grass somewhere, the other person who is picking some tea somewhere. By the time he goes down the hill, it comes up, because I come from the mountains, right? He has done exercise every day. And he always takes some tea around 11. He takes lunch around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. He takes some tea, maybe with an egg. Supper, he eats, and then he always reads a book. Okay, right now his vision is not that good, but he will listen to his radio, right? He doesn't like TV anyway. So he listens to his radio, and he likes listening to BBC. Well, for some reason, that is his favorite channel. And he will tell you a story. What is the BBC saying about Africa? What is it saying about? He'll give you a story, right? And I said his routine when I compared with the Japanese, it's kind of close. The Japanese walk a lot. They don't sit at one place. They don't strain. They just do everything with, with slowly, with emotions. They make sure they live in a community. And there was a lot of similarity there. And that's why I feel so passionate about speaking about this topic, because who does not want to live up to 100 years old? I mean, I think life is exciting. When you see one generation after the other generation, things changing. I can imagine when my parents were young, and the things that are happening then, things that are happening now, things that are just about to happen in future. It's exciting to just hear and learn about them and things that are happening. Technology, it wasn't there, now it is here. All right. So what is the meaning of Ikigai? I said I will define this. It is the reason for living. So why are you living? Yeah, it's because you found your purpose in life. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you have not found your purpose in life, I would really encourage you to do whatever good it takes to find your purpose, to find something that you can do without being pushed, something you can wake up every morning and jumpstart yourself and start doing. And it doesn't matter even if you're going online to do it and no one is watching you, or even it's only your cat that is smiling at you. Just give it a story. What is this that you can do over and over again? It is exciting and it gives you some meaning in life. It's very close to what your purpose should be. Because I'm sure you're wondering, what is this purpose? What is this that can pay me? There's a way you can find that meaning or that linkage. Because most people say you find your purpose and it doesn't pay, right? And perhaps you haven't discovered how it can pay. And I remember one lady who was asking me, I read novels every day. I see a new novel, I read it. I see another new novel, I read it. What can I do by just reading? And there's a lot you can do by just reading. All right? You can read for children. You can start your own YouTube channel for reading stories, whatever type of stories. Reading, okay? You can, start a program on TV, on radio, reading some nice stories and maybe acting them out, depending on how you package it. So there's a lot you can do with that which you love so much. And it does not have to have been done before. You can pick something that is being done in a certain way, tweak it and make it different. And that is why we call it a purpose, because it's unique to you and it's very different for you. It's not just what others have been doing. So let's go into an exercise on how to find your Ikigai. All right. And please take this action seriously. And because from the other lessons that we'll be having next week, you will realize that it will just be building on this. So how do you find your Ikigai? You need to take some deep introspection into what you love. It may not be easy to find what you love because some people say, I can do so many things and I enjoy many things. Yes, but there's that one thing that you must find. All right? And we'll do this exercise so that you're able to find it. Number 2 is what you are good at. So that which you love, you're good at it. And what is that you love, you're good at, and the world needs? Because if the world needs it, then you can definitely package it and be paid for it. If you have these 4 questions answered so well, you will definitely start finding that Ikigai. And that's why I'm saying, remember to write your answers on a piece of paper. So we will go through each of these bullet points, each at a time. And at the end of this lesson, you will have come up with it. If you don't do it today, take the next 1 week, work on it, and then we'll build on it next week. All right? So how do you find your Ikigai? The first part is I talked about what you love and what you're good at. And that is your passion, what you're passionate about. Could be singing, could be writing, could be playing guitar, could be swimming, could be anything, right? So what is this you're passionate about? When you wake up in the morning, what is this you find yourself doing without being coerced, being pushed? What is this you find yourself having to do even when, like today, my leg is paining, right? After I twisted it. But I am here online doing something because I feel I need to do it. I'm passionate about it. It doesn't matter. The leg can actually be sorted out a little bit later, right? So you need to dig very deep and find where your passion is. And in fact, what I would request you to do is to write down as many things as possible. Take what you love, write about 20 to 50 things what you love to do. Then go to what you're good at. Maybe it's part of what you love, or maybe there are other things you don't love to do them, but you're good at them. Add them to the list, right? But make sure you know where they fall, all right? Then go to the next one, your profession, all right? What you are good at and you can be paid for. Because most people have a profession today because they went to the university or they went to college and they learned something, and that is what actually puts the food on the table today, because that's what they're employed to do. But perhaps you don't like that. Don't worry about that. Just write it down. What you are good at, right? Maybe you're good at it, but you don't like it. Don't worry. Keep writing your list. And in fact, at the end of the day, you should have a list of more than 100 items. Then the other one is what you can be paid for. Maybe of all the things you love to do, you're good at, and you can take some of them on what you can be paid for, because some of them you can sell, some of them you may perhaps don't think you can sell, but just tick through. And what you're good at and you can be paid for is your profession. So you're looking at skills at this point in time. What skills do you have? What did you learn in school? What knowledge have you acquired along the way? And you are proficient in that particular skill and or that career. Just keep writing down. And remember, don't judge yourself too much, because sometimes we say, I know how to bake, but I'm not excellent, so I don't write it down. No, no, no. If you just know how to bake, put it down there, because if the only thing that's remaining is how to ice the cake, then that's a little skill that you can add on to the later. Just keep writing and writing and writing. Think about whether your skill can be monetized, about the and also think about the competition and how you can differentiate yourself in the market, because the things that you know how to do and you have a skill on, there are other people who are doing them. So also tick or mark somewhere the things that the competition is doing. And also, if possible, find out how the competition is doing it so that you can find the missing links, and then that will be a differentiator, right? Make it a little bit different so that people who want that extra piece that you've added, they can as well come to you and not to your competitors. That's how you actually, make your niche a little bit different from your competition. Because we said we are all unique and our services are unique. So you cannot go copying your competition, but you can listen to what they do, but tweak your products and services a little bit. The other item is your vocation, what the world needs and what you can be paid for. So what does the world need? All right. You must identify a gap. Maybe the gap is that service, your competitors are offering it to grown-ups, but children can also have it. All right. So children also need it, but they have not been served with that particular service or that particular product. So that is how then you start saying that the world needs it, but it's not been served in this particular age group, for example. So remember that what is profitable may not be what you're passionate about. But don't worry about that, because there is a way you can also combine your vocation, your profession, your passion. You combine all that and create something unique out of it. So even if you're not passionate about it, by adding what you're passionate about as a spice on it may actually bring you that out the purpose that you're looking for. All right. So let's go ahead. And finally, the fourth item is your mission, what you love and what the world needs. Yes, there are people, perhaps they love to pray, they love to give back to the community, and you love to do that. It's not necessarily that you'll be paid for it, but it's your mission on earth, all right? So perhaps with that giving back to the society and your passion and your vocation and your profession, if you bring all together, and if you have been writing all that, what we are discussing tonight on a piece of paper, you will find that some of the things you'll be repeating them. There will be actually a mission, at the same time it's a vocation, at the same time it's a passion, And those are the things that actually you need to lift and highlight and start looking at the similarities, differences, what are the competition doing, and start narrowing down how you can be different, all right? So a mission is much, much bigger than a goal. Yes, and that's what we called even a purpose in life. What's your mission? What's your purpose in life? It's much, much bigger. And then you build the goals under that mission, okay? So with those 4 exercises, if you can complete that, then you will most probably find your Ikigai. It may take a week, it may take 2 weeks, it even may take a month to come up with the right items or to tick through and be able to identify what your Ikigai is. Yeah. So what is your Ikigai? By going through this exercise, find something that is common in all the above, in the things that cut across passion, mission, vocation, and profession. Do you have any? If you're doing this exercise, then pick 1 or 2 of these and then rate them. Yeah. Rate them in terms of which one you would love to do as number 1, number 2, number 3, and then make time and pick the right one out of the top 3 or top 5, and then learn more about them. All right. And not just about those items, also yourself, because you're the one who will be the messenger in this place. So once you learn more about your deeper meaning in life, purpose, and the reason why you're picking those top 3, and you align your real self, your true self, with that which you want to do, then you'll definitely have found your Ikigai, right? It's an exercise actually we can do in maybe a classroom session. Remember, we are starting our classes on 8th. For those who have not registered, they can register so that we can use this particular model and drill deeper with examples on how you can actually drill down to that purpose, all right? So we are not going to go through the 6 key lessons in this book. That is a lesson for next week. And therefore, if you're struggling to find your Ikigai and you want money, to make money from what you love, then you need to join this class, all right? And there are 2 steps to it, to change your 2022, okay? So you need to take this class in 2021 to be able to go ahead in 2022. And this class is Scale Up Your Business Online. It's starting on the 8th of October. And the pay bill is actually on the link in this Facebook group. You will be able to see that. Actually, I gave it last time, and I will still be able to give that. And that's it for today. All right. So thank you so much for listening. And let me stop sharing. Thank you so much for listening. And I'm sure if you have done that exercise, you will definitely find your Ikigai. And if you really want to join our class on 8th of October, please DM me, talk to me, or just use the link on Facebook group, and we can start the training on the 8th. Yes, don't miss your slot, because we don't take more than 15 people, because this is a very deep coaching sessions, very deep, because for you to be able to find your Ikigai and be able to craft a solution or a product out of it, it requires quite some amount of dedication and attention. And therefore, we cannot be a class of 100 people. We got to be just a handful of people to be able to work together and get meaning out of it. So you're most welcome to the class, and see you next time. Let's meet in class. So next Sunday, we'll continue with the same book, and we'll discuss much, much more. Goodbye for now.